going to have to bear with me because this seems like a bit of a stretch, right? But why wouldn't it be an absolute stretch? We've waited so long for the Tesla Roadster, and if it's going to come out, it seems like it's going to have to be something crazy. The other day, Elon was on Rogan, and he was talking about the Tesla Roadster, okay? He was discussing, and he's like hinting that it might be a flying car. He's like, you have to see the demo. The demo is going to be something completely different. It's going to be out of this world. So, what are they going to do? What would Tesla do? This is my idea, right? This is what came into my brain, right? So if it's what came into my brain, it's like just sober sitting on the sofa on a Friday night. What can come into Elon's mega ketamine riddled brain where he's all like going just crazy, right? It's big brain thinking. The other week, a few weeks ago in August, Tesla filed a patent for adaptive vehicle aerodynamics for downforce. And in the patent, in the images, it shows you these fans. And if you read the patent, it discusses all about something similar to the McMurtry Spearling, where they're using skirts and fans to create active downforce, to create downforce on the car for cornering, right? But to me, this sounds more like it's going to be used for hovering, right? If you reverse the fans and you're turning it into some kind of a hovercraft, right? Now that would be cool, but the McMurtry Spearling is like a gimmick, and a car that could hover around a racetrack is a bit of a gimmick. And I think of Tesla, yes, obviously they do gimmicky things like the cars can fart and stuff like that, right? They do like a joke, but if they're going to make something to make money, to sell something to make money, and like a massive step forward in line with Elon's like turning the company into $8.5 trillion company, they're not going to get there by selling like a gimmick, like a car that hovers or a car that can go around the track with like super suction down for downforce. It has to be something wildly different, right? People don't want electric sports cars. People aren't buying electric sports cars. Rimac has shown that, and the Bautista, Lotus Evija, like it's not something people want. So if you're going to make an electric sports car, then you're going to make it a seller. Do I think you're going to get a giant sales success because it has like a suction downforce like a McMurtry Spearling? What did I say there? I don't think that's something that would make a seller, and I don't think Tesla is going to put crazy amounts of money into something like that. It's so niche, and it's just something that people aren't going to want, right? So what did I think when I was listening to him, right? Take the idea, picture this, right? You drive your Tesla into a supercharger just outside of the city. You charge it to full, and the supercharger station is actually the supercharger spaceport, not spaceport, flight port, right? You're not going to space, but you just then charge your car up to full. We're talking like super new battery technology, lighter weight batteries, and massive more power density and fast charging. So imagine you charge your car for 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and then literally you can make a jump, right? Where you're going to take off like an eVTOL and fly to the next Tesla charging station. So you're just flying between Tesla stations, right? And the car's doing it all itself, right? Tesla obviously have the flight control systems. They don't, but SpaceX have the flight control systems. They can take a fucking skyscraper sized tube, right? And with no wings, and like fly it across the world and then dump it down on a tennis court, right? So like they have the flight control systems, they have a way to do this. So they take it, the fans are integrated, this is my idea. The fans are integrated into the side skirts of the car. The car takes off and it flies to the next Tesla charging station, lands, put a bit more juice in it, another 15 minutes. But because you've got 100 miles, say, as the crow flies between the stations, you are like cutting out all of this traffic. You're going so fast. So the time you're waiting to charge up is totally saved by your flight. And then you can go that last mile. The car has to still just look like a car. You can't have any giant wings or stuck on bits or anything. And then the car goes, you land at the station, the next spaceport, flight port, Tesla port. You land there, Skyport, Tesla Skyport, right? You land there, and then you can do the last mile. You can do your journey to your house. You can do the journey to your meeting. You can do your journey to the scenic area, wherever you're going. You just get to there. You can, and that's the difference. Like, if I buy like the eVTOLs that are available right now, like the Jobbies, whatever they're called, right? There's a few of them. You can only fly out on private land, I think, and it's a toy. You're only just flying around. You're landing back. You got to get out of it. You got to walk. You're not landing on top of buildings. You're not landing it in the street. Whereas if you had a car like a Tesla Roadster and it still just looks and drives like a car all the time, but you can literally just jump from one station to the next, being an eVTOL, and then drive to your destination. That is what makes it a valuable prospect. It takes it away from being a toy and being a gimmick and being something that's actually usable, something that something that people are going to want and that you can actually use massively. Like, this has to be like a huge jump forward. I know Elon had talked about there being rockets and things on the Tesla Roadster in the past, but if you think about a rocket, how are they going to power that with electricity? The only way you're really going to do that with electricity is with some kind of compressed gas for lift or for propulsion. But if you're putting a compressor in, which is filling an air receiver, which is then giving thrust, that air receiver is going to need so much pressure. It's going to be so heavy, right, to resist the pressure, because you're going to need, a serious amount of air at a serious amount of pressure to supply anything. If you think about your normal compressor in your workshop and it's 200 litres, and the pressure inside that is almost nothing, and if you turn the motor off on that, you're going to run it down in a minute, and a couple of minutes, you're going to get no pressure to push a car. So imagine the wall thickness and the weight of an air receiver that you could use to power some kind of propulsion. That just seems, and I can't see any other type of like rocket that isn't fueled with some kind of combustible. That you're not going to carry two types of fuel in your Tesla Roadster. You're not going to have electricity for drive and then some other super fuel for rocket thrust. So it would have to be some kind of an air, and just the air thing kind of gets wiped out, because to me the idea of the size and weight of the receivers, just, it's either going to be a tiny receiver that can hold a massive volume of air like under huge pressure, and there's going to be a limit to that. I don't know the science in that, but there's obviously going to be a limit to how much you could take, versus some kind of flammable, combustible accelerant. So, not accelerant, I'm not a scientist, a physicist, right? I'm a moron. So, it has to be some kind of a drone type rotor eVTOL. And Tesla, this patent that Tesla filed here, the number of it is US 123779220B1. It was in August, I think, right? And they're talking in it all about airflow pathways and the downforce and how they directing the air to different corners to make the downforce in different terrains. But also talks a lot about sensors for sensing the ground and all of these things. And here's a picture of it, okay? We can see here in this post by Sawyer Merritt, they have this ducts here, right? And they're talking about all of these, the fans and the ducting. They're talking about all of this being in the side skirts, and they're talking about it being retractable in different modes. And you have to read the whole patent, it's quite long, but they're talking about it as being something like a McMurtry. But if you just look at all of the sensors and the connections and how they're talking about it, and then imagine it in reverse, imagine it being thrust and propulsion. And like, to me, that seems like something that Tesla would do much more so than just just trying to make the car faster or make it like hover around a circuit. That's too much of a gimmick and it's too niche. And like, how many are they going to sell? Maybe there's 50,000 people in the world that's going to buy Tesla Roadster just because it can go around a track like faster than a Murphy-Spearling. Like, how many make Murphy-Spearlings have they sold, right? Admittedly, that's not really a road car, but how many Tesla Roadsters would they sell? It's too much of a gimmick. I don't think Tesla are going to make something that is just like so gimmicky as a like Murphy-Spearling, or something that's for track, or something that can make the Tesla Roadster go to 0 to 60 in one second on the road, because like it's so uncalled for. The cars are already so fast. There's nowhere you can use that. It's absolutely pointless. And this discussion about using rockets and things to make the car go to 1 second to 0 to 60 or 0 to 100, that's just, it's pointless. It's a pointless gimmick. It's not really going to sell any cars. It's so fucking dangerous. Like, morons on the road to that, right? I just don't see it. But thinking big, thinking about, is this a flying car? Is this a car that can launch you from one Tesla Skyport to the next Tesla Skyport? To me, that would make sense. And there's more. There's a lot of different eVTOL companies out there trying to do these things. But that last mile, that last bit of the journey, getting to, nobody wants to then go to one port, go to another port, get a taxi. Well, suppose you get in a cyber cab and go to where you're going. But what if you could just have it all in one? And then this obviously levels up to cyber cabs as well. What if you're just driving around the city normally in your Tesla Roadster, pull into the Skyport Supercharger station, fill your car up. Again, imagining we have like some doubled or tripled the battery technology that we have today. And this car's not going to come out. If they're going to show it now, it's not going to come out this year. It's going to come out in 2030 or something. We've waited this long. We can wait another 5, 6, 7 years. And then you fill that car up, you can get a supercharge, the batteries are super dense, and it can lift and launch the car down to the next port. You're going from Los Angeles to Barstow, Los Angeles to Las Vegas, poof, jump straight as the crow flies, 100 miles an hour through the air, land, bung a bit more charge in your car, drive through the city to your hotel. That's what's going to work, and that is the next giant step forward. We need flying. We've been on the edge of flying, not on the edge of flying cars, but people have been talking about flying cars since the Jetsons, since it came about. So it's about time we actually got it. And look at the all the different drones we have, all the drone designs. Like, there's flat rotor, 4 rotors, enclosed drone style. Propulsion seems to be the way forward. It's just, can you make the energy dense enough to power the batteries, to power the motors? Can you make the motor strong enough to lift the car? Obviously, the weight of the batteries has to come down massively to make the car flyable. We already have drones that are lifting payloads in farming and payloads in rescue, a couple of 100 kilos, I'm not sure, I think up to 400 kilos. Already we have drones, so if you're doubling that, if you can get the car to, using a lot of composites and carbon fibre, you can get the two-seater car to a ton, 1,200 kilos, but you've also doubled or tripled the capacity, the storage and the power of the batteries, and you can make that a reality. And still make the car a usable car that just looks like a car. And with Tesla's flight control systems to be able to balance it, to take it off. And obviously, like, the Starship just flies itself. It's not like you're going to be flying it. You're just going to be putting it into your Google Maps or whatever, your Waze, right? Tesla Waze. And you're just going to hit the button. I want to go to this address or this skyport. And it's just going to go poof and launch you to there. Also, the benefit of that and not letting people actually fly themselves around, you're flying in distinct corridors, you're flying at a set height, like what automated cruise control is on the motorway. You're staying within a flight channel, you're staying within a flight path, you're staying below airliners, you're not going anywhere near airports, and you're not just letting people fly around randomly on their own, but you're taking them from point to point. And that seems like it's something you could get regulated and passed across the line a lot easier than just like a normal VTOL where people are flying around everywhere themselves. And Tesla already have all of the locations of the superchargers. So, they have the ground space, they have the charging infrastructure. So you just utilize that, you utilize those Tesla chargers. You're integrating all of the things they already have. between SpaceX, between the chargers, between the cars, between the tech, and just putting it all into one package of this incredible flying Tesla Roadster. In my mind, that's how it has to work, right? And we'll see. Elon said before the end of the year, we will see a demo of it. Maybe he's just saying that so they like definitely confirm his pay packet, because you get you get people like speculating like me, like, oh, he's going to do something crazy. But you know, I don't think a gimmick of a super fast roadster, or a roadster that can hover around a racetrack, that seems like a money loser. That doesn't seem like a game changer that's going to get Tesla from $1 trillion to $8.5 trillion. But if you can, you know, you're using your ketamine mind, you're making all your connections from your ketamine adult brain, right? Oh, we connect this, we connect this, and we connect this. And then you're like, ah, I've got it. We're going to make it fly like an eVTOL. It seems like that's the most logical way to do it. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you think that's an absolutely crazy idea? Do you think I'm off my head? Do you think he's off his head? But that would be so cool, and that's got to be the way to do it. That seems like the future. Everybody's waiting for the future. Why don't we live in the future now? Like he said in the podcast, why does it still look like 2015? Why does it still look like 2015? Like, give me a flying car, give me a flying taxi. Do you know what I mean? Like, get me in a flying taxi. Poof. See you later.